What's going on, world? And welcome to Clearing the Wreckage Podcast. It's the voice and your host, Kareem A. Rashid. And once again, I don't know what you got going on. You could be getting on the toilet, or you could be getting off the toilet. Hell, for all I know, you could be wiping your tushy. But I know that I'm ready. And so I hope that you're ready to clear the wreckage. Yes, indeed. What's going on with you today, my peeps, my wreckage clearers, my wreckage clearing community, my fellow people? Man, we are back, my fellow friends. I am glad to be here. I'm ecstatic. I'm excited. I'm filled with joy. I just came back from a great vacation. Man, I had such a blast, and it was awesome. But now, back to my regular scheduled program. You know how those commercials do? They'll be like, all right, now back to your regularly scheduled program. That's what they used to do back in the day. Now, you just have a bunch of ads because you're streaming a whole bunch of stuff. So you don't get like commercials like you used to, back in the day when I was growing up. Anyway, so what's going on with you? I hope you had a great week. As I shared with you, I had a fantastic time out of town, away from my hometown on a vacation. I worked a little bit. I did some work while I was away, but for the most part, I just hung out, chilled, and relaxed. But I tell you what I did do. I still developed and deepened my connection with God. And that's what we're going to talk about today. Oh, man, that's what we're talking about today, Kareem. Man, I thought we were going to talk about something really fun and exciting. We're going to talk about prayer. Yep, that's what we're going to talk about, because this is part of my journey of clearing the wreckage. And it's my podcast, and we're talking about how I begin to clear the wreckage, which was taking a look inside and taking that time to do so, right? So last week we talked about continually looking inside and promptly admitting when we were wrong. We talked about that so that we could do this on a daily basis. We can check in with ourselves. We can develop and deepen the relationship that we have with ourselves. Then previous conversations we had was about setting things right with ourselves. We were talking about connecting to ourself in the right manner, through forgiveness, through grace, through humility. Not with those morbid eyes, remember we discussed that, but with the right eyes, looking at ourselves as just the right size, like that Snickers bar that apparently satisfies your hunger. We had to get a new set of eyes. We had to look at ourselves as the right size. We had to look at ourselves as just right. Listen, we're going to make a couple of mistakes in life, but we are just right. So that we can forgive ourselves. And with that process, learning to forgive ourselves and move forward, we have learned to set things right with others, learn to forgive others, learn to show grace to others, and acceptance and tolerance by giving that to ourselves first. And then here comes one of the most important relationships as well, is the relationship between you and God, that divine being, that creator, the one that put you on this earth and formed you into your mother's womb and put you here. Now, you may argue with that all you want to. Kareem, I don't really know about this. I don't think there was a creator, and everything just happened. I just happened to be here. I still don't know how, but I just happened to be here. And there's not really a creator or anything like that put me here, that is fine. I love you right where you are. We are still going to have a conversation about this, though. You can't wiggle your way out of this. This is part of clearing the wreckage, and this is part of my journey. So why is it so important for us to pray and have conversation and communion with God? Well, for one, it builds intimacy. That intimacy is built through conversation, right? I mean, I can't have no type of intimacy or connection with you if I'm not with you every single week having a conversation with you. You will not know who I am. You will not know anything about me if I did not open my mouth and say, hey, this is who I am. This is where I've been. This is what I've done. This is what I'm learning. You wouldn't know. Also, the expression of gratitude and that sought out guidance and the alignment of our lives to the divine's will. That is what prayer does. That is what that direct line of communication builds, right? It builds intimacy through that conversation, the expression of gratitude, sought out guidance, and the alignment of our will to the divine's will. Your relationship with God is much like nurturing any other relationship. Prayer is a way for us to spend time with God. It is a way to connect and align our hearts with God. So when we pray, we are actually inviting God into our lives and asking for that guidance, right? That is what we're doing. So on a day-to-day basis, now you must pray. If you want to clear the wreckage, you must pray. You must start having a conversation with God. And I tell you what, so I will just share this with you, okay? I did not know what prayer was all my life. I thought I did. I really did. I really thought I did. I had all these different makeups of what prayer is. I prayed in all types of different ways. But I didn't really just know that prayer is about me inviting God into my life, and it is about me aligning myself with God's will. Truly, prayer is about me aligning myself to God's will. Do I need to repeat that? Because, see, I was a kid that didn't want to align to his father's will. Did you catch that too? So as kids, terrible twos, right? The toddler knows everything. No. Whenever our parents told us, we weren't aligning to our parents' will. So then I had to change the way that I saw God. Again, remember I told you I had to be given the right eyes, and that came through that grace and humility. You have to go through it to get to it, but two things are required, grace and humility. And because I seen that grace and I grabbed onto it, that humility was birthed from that. And when I was told by my mentor, who was helping me to clear the wreckage at this time in my life, hey, now you're at the part where it is time for you to improve your connection with God. It is time for you to seek for the knowledge of God's will and the power to carry it out. And then I had to learn, well, what is it that I'm supposed to be praying for? Because all my life, I prayed for myself. Especially in times of crises. Oh, God, please don't let me go to jail. I don't know, maybe you're just like I was. Oh, God, please don't let this happen. Oh, God, I don't have any money. Can you please make sure this bill gets paid? Yeah. In dire time of need is when I voiced my concern and my request to God. Now, how would you like it to be that you're in a relationship with someone and they only come to you when they are in dire need for you to rescue them? I bet you'll get drained, you'll get tired. You'll be like, oh my God, here he goes again, here she goes again, asking me for something. Every time they call me, they only call me because they want something. Could you imagine? That is how I was with the divine source, with the creator, with God. That is how I was. Oh, God, please, God. I need you right now. That is the only time I called on the Most High. That's the only time I called on that higher source, that higher power. That's the only time. So, of course, I didn't know. I thought I was doing what I was supposed to do. Oh, that's when you pray. You pray when you need something. You ask God for what you need. You make your request known. And God is going to come through. And if God don't come through, I'm just going to hate God for the rest of my life and be pissed off at God and be like, there's no God. God never answers my prayers. God never helps me when I really needed him. Where was God at when I was praying not to go to jail? They still put handcuffs on me and put me in the back of the car and sent me to jail. See, here is the issue. Here is the wreckage. And I'm going to share with you mine. See, mine was like that. That was my wreckage. I just thought God is a savior, and so God is supposed to save me every single time that I ask. Come to the rescue. And I took God for granted. I took the very God, the one who created me, for granted. The one who gave me life for granted. Oh, God's only there when I need him. So I ask you, how do you view God? Remember, my whole attitude and outlook upon life, my whole perception, my whole conception changed about God. Well, I had this viewpoint where I thought, man, if I don't do this, if I don't do that, I'm going to hell. God is going to condemn me. God is the punisher. Doom, doom, doom. And I'm going to receive doom and destruction for all of my stupidity and my bad decisions. Oh, no, God's not going to forgive me. Why would God forgive me for all of the crap that I have done? No. God does not want anything to do with me. I am a wreck. That is how I thought. But what if, just what if, let's play with this for a little while. See, I had to get a whole new conception of God. What if God was this loving God who wanted and desired to have a connection with me? Desired a connection with you. What if? Let's take our parents, for example. Our parents desire a connection with us. Our parents desire, when we get older, all throughout our lives, they desire an intimate connection with us. Intimacy is formed from the day that we are out of the womb. The day that our mother and our father holds us in our arms, intimacy and trust is being built. Then, so when we get a little older, they desire for us to come to them for guidance. Woo, boy, don't let me start preaching up in here. They desire for us to be curious. They may not like it. They may get annoyed because they're human. God doesn't get annoyed. But they may get a little bit annoyed if you keep saying, but why, Dad? But why, Dad? But why, Dad? But why, Mom? But why, sister? Why, brother? After you ask every question, there's a why after it. They may get a little annoyed because they're human. But what if, just what if, let's play with this for a little while now, because I'm about to start preaching up in here. What if God desired that curious heart from us as his kids? Now, we're going to talk in another episode later on because, see, at this time in my life, the journey and the story I'm sharing with you, back at this time in my life in 2016, I only viewed God as him. I'm going to let you sit on that for a little while. I'm going to let you try to digest how I was raised and everything, but I kind of told you a little bit how I was raised, but I always knew God and looked at God as the man. And I cannot wait till we get into further conversations into my journey of how I am now. God is spirit, my friend. I cannot put any type of gender on God. I can't. I don't even see, for me personally, I've developed so much and grown and cleared the wreckage so much and deepened my relationship and my connection so much. The Wi-Fi signal says excellent so much in the communication that I have with God that I just call God God. I don't say, oh, he gave me this. Now let's go back to where we are now, because I ain't in that part of the story with y'all yet. I don't want to skip too much ahead. Where we are now is I did not know how to pray. All I prayed for every time was that I needed something from God. So God is supposed to come to my rescue, right? The same thing when I asked my mom for something or my dad for something. They had better have given it to me. Or else they wouldn't love me if they did not give me what I asked for. This is the conception and the perception and the viewpoint that I had of God. All of that had to change, my friends. So I ask you, what is your viewpoint of God? How do you relate to God? How is your relationship with God? Well, listen here and listen closely. If it is any of that, it is time for you to deepen your connection with God. Your relationship with God is, in fact, the most important one. Now, I know I've said in the past, your relationship with yourself is the most important. Your relationship with God is the most important, then yourself, then others. Because if you are growing in your relationship with God and your understanding and your connection and your intimacy with God, all of that overflows into your relationship with yourself. And then from there, it overflows into your relationship with other people. Now, let's think of God as a lover. Let's just play with all of this now while I'm talking to you. Well, I just want to have fun with this conversation today. Let's think of God as a lover. Why not? Some of you are probably like, no, I can't think God is the Father. I can't think of God like that. Oh, no, that's blasphemy. No, think of God. Open your mind and think of God as a lover. If you are in relationship with your lover, your partner, your husband, your wife, don't you want the intimacy to grow between you two? Don't you want the connection to grow between you two? Don't you want it to deepen and deepen? Don't you want trust to continue to deepen and build between you two? It's the same as it is with God. Now, do you always tell your partner, hey, this is what I need? Do you always come to your partner and go, hey, baby, this is what I need. Hey, baby, this is what I need, over and over and over again? Let's go further. Do you expect your partner, your husband, your wife to save you, to rescue you? Let's go further. Do you expect them to always give you what you need? I don't know your answer to that. I'm not in your relationship, so I don't know your answer to that. I want you to answer that honestly. Check in with yourself on that one. Now, I know for me, I've already told you, that is what I expected of God. That is what I expected. God, you better save me. Or anybody else I'm praying for, you better save them. You better rescue them. If you don't, then you don't love me. Do you put that type of expectation on your human spouse? Well, if you don't give me what I need, then you must be don't love me. I want you to answer that truthfully and honestly to yourself. Now, you don't always tell your spouse or your husband or your wife or your girlfriend or your boyfriend, your partner, what you need, because they know what you need. They begin to know, I should say. They start to begin to know what you need because this intimacy and this bond and this connection is growing and being built between you two. That even through your behavior, through your tone, through your joys, through your sense of humor, your love language, or the way that you love, even your pain, your sorrows, even your hurts, they begin to know every single thing about you over the course of time. That's why in the beginning stages, most relationships, when you're dating somebody, most people put their best foot forward. They put on their Sunday best. They go, oh, I'm going to present myself as this person. And then the more you get to know them, you're like, wait a second. This is nothing like the person that I was dating. Something happens over the course of time. And what happens is you just begin to know who they are. That's all that happens. You begin to know them inside and out. What if God desired to know you inside and out? Now, some of y'all are going to question that. Well, God already knows me inside and out. Well, what about your part with God? Do you not want to know God inside and out? Do you not want to grow your connection to God in a sense of where you have such a curiosity to know God? I tell you what, I want to know. I ask so many questions. And back then, I just started asking questions because I didn't know how to pray. So I started asking God different questions. How do you want me to pray? What is it that you have in store for me today? What is your direction for me today? What is your will for my life today? And give me the power and the strength to carry it out. And then, the other thing I had to learn was that when I pray, I can't be praying all the time for my needs. So this is the thing. So as we're looking at maybe God as a lover, so let's take your husband, your spouse, your boyfriend, your girlfriend, your partner. Are you going to them and you're just constantly begging for what you need? No, you're not doing that. You're not doing that because, first of all, as I stated, your partner begins to know everything that you need eventually over the course of time. And then secondly, it's pretty doggone annoying. It's pretty annoying. You keep asking for the same thing over and over and over and over and over and over again. To the human, it's annoying, but to God, God will listen to you. And God will just say, hey, I know, I've heard you. I'm actually working on that right now. You may not see it, but if you can just be patient with me, I am working on that. Or a matter of fact, I have already answered that. You need to ask me for discernment so you can actually see what I have done. The answer is right there in front of you. See, sometimes prayer helps us gain discernment and wisdom. It helps us to make the right decision. It directs us. It leads us into the way that we are supposed to go. So that's about all I got for you today. I just wanted to talk to you about how it is important to pray, because prayer is a way for us to deepen our connection with God, and that is an important tool to clearing the wreckage. And that is why I wanted to talk to you about that today and share that with you today. So if God was this lover, wouldn't you want to spend time with God? So I started doing some things, and I'm going to share this with you real quick. I started doing some things because I just thought one way. I really did just think one way. I thought, well, this is how I'm supposed to pray, and that is it. You know, I started becoming intimate with God. And you can do this if you want to, but these are ways that I learned, and I started clearing the wreckage. I started becoming intimate with God so that I can deepen my connection with God. So that Wi-Fi signal can say, excellent, excellent. Think about it. You got the greatest Wi-Fi ever. That's what we live on today. Oh, my God, where's the Wi-Fi? I want you to be saying, where is God? And how is my connection to God today? That's a question I want you to be asking yourself. Those were the questions that I was asking myself at that time in my life. So spending time, quality time with your partner, with your spouse, with your husband, with your wife, with your boyfriend, with your girlfriend is important, right? So it is the utmost importance to do the same with God. So I started developing and learning in this and growing in this to where I started just taking walks and talking to God the whole time. Not just expressing my gratitude, not just expressing my concerns, but praying for other people. And through praying with other people, praying for other people, it helped me to connect more to God's heart. It helped me connect more to God's heart, which is love, unconditional, for all of his creation, all of its creation. All of God's creatures are loved beyond what I can even imagine. But the more I got to know and spend time with God, the more I learned about this. And even today, the more I learn about this. So I started taking trips. I started going to different little places, different little spots. And I would take God on a date. Yep, you heard me say it right. I would take God on a date. Seriously. Like this, and I would drop everything and I'd be like, you know what? Me and God are going to spend time together. I don't care if it's an hour, 2 hours, 3 hours, whatever. It could be 30 minutes. Me and God are going to go spend time together. And I would go and I would take God with me. I've already invited God in through the prayer and say, God, come on, let's go. Or I would go without taking God with me. And I'm like, I'm going to this spot. This is our spot where we meet. I know that you will meet me there because you have shown me yourself every time I go to this spot. And I started doing that. And I had some of the greatest moments and experiences to where my relationship with God became personal. It became personal, and that is what I want for you. A personal connection. Because you have a personal Wi-Fi signal to God. Your own little hotspot, so to speak. Utilize it. Utilize it. So the more we talk, the more we spend time with God, the more we get to know God. And it is okay. I don't care what you have been told, what you have been taught. I'm going to tell you right here, and it's coming from my mouth. Be curious. Question God. Ask God, why is this happening? Question, it's okay. You know what I realize and I've learned, especially over the course of time, developing my relationship with God? God is way bigger and way stronger and way more vast and way more equipped with might and power to handle my little questions. In fact, the other thing I learned is God desires for me to ask. I'm asking respectfully. I'm not coming to God and saying, why are you doing this? I'm asking respectfully, hey, God, man, this is my heart. I just want to know why. When my mother had breast cancer, I asked those questions. I said, God, man, I just want to know why has she been afflicted with this disease? Why? And I just ask you, please, I plead with you. I make my request known to you that I would love for you to heal my mother of this disease if it is your will. So that is why we spend time with God, why we pray. It is to build our connection with God because that is the one main source that will remain forever. All your friends, I hate to burst your bubble and tell you this, all your friends, all of your brothers, all of your sisters, your parents, anybody human that is in your life will dissipate. I hate to say that. They will not be there all your life. It's just the way it is. But God will. Now, that doesn't mean, oh, well, I got forever, so let me prolong my time and not worry about making this so important that I need to develop and strengthen my connection to God. Let me not listen to Kareem. I got all day. Matter of fact, I got 2.5, 3 more years before I can really start working on this, before I can really start deepening my connection with God, because God's always going to be there. Isn't that what Kareem said? Right? I don't want you to do it like that. God will always be there forever. Yes. But God wants you forever. God wants you and your relationship. God desires to be with you forever. It's the way I was trying to word it. My bad. God desires to be with you forever. That's the desire of God's heart. God is a nurturer. God is nurturing you, growing you. And God desires to be with you forever as you are. As you are. And remember, I had to change my viewpoint. So when I say this, maybe start looking at yourself in this way. But the more you get to know God, the more you start connecting to God, you may begin to start looking at yourself in the way that God views you. As God's perfect little child. And that's all I got for you today. I appreciate y'all so much. Hey, don't forget, I desire a connection with you. Okay? So I desire more than just getting on here with you and meeting you every single week. I desire to hear from you throughout the week. I desire a deeper connection with you. So I ask, again, I'll present my request to you. I will share my needs with you, or my wants and my desires, is that you DM me at Clearing the Wreckage Podcast on Instagram. Also, that you scroll down to the footnotes of the podcast episode and you can see every single place that you can follow me on and start following. We are about to build this community up. So I want you to be a part of it because we're going to start going live. We're going to start doing some things. And we're going to build the wreckage clearing community up because I know I got people that listen to me every single week that are part of clearing the wreckage and are serious about learning how to clear the wreckage, what to do, when to do it, how to say it, what not to do, what not to do. All of that. I know your hearts. I desire to know your hearts more. So share this with your loved ones. We do not grow as a community unless this is shared with everyone. Okay? I love you. I will see you hopefully next week. All right? And as I always leave you, take some time to look inside so that the wreckage can begin to clear. Peace.